Hey there, everyone. That Sexy Nerd is back again. And we're doing more Casual Geographic here, as you guys know. So it's the most... What is this episode? The most violent animal on Earth, and it's not what you think. I already know it's a meerkat. They already show it on the thing. But yeah, they really are. It's so weird. I mean, I'm not going to explain it myself. I'll let him explain it to you, because I bet you I'm going to learn some stuff. I mean... I know about meerkats and I know about their society and all that stuff. I've seen them in public. I've always wondered how they keep them from killing each other in the zoos. I guess we're about to find out. So please, smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And subscribe if you think I deserve it. And let's do this thing, y'all.
2016, the University of Granada published a study that tried to answer the question of what mammal out of the thousands on Earth is the most homicidal. And
Meerkats.
The results, well, if it wasn't on paper, you wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, meerkats. Because at the end of the day, most of the time, even fur seals will run through an entire thing in order to try and mate, and they're getting like attacked from all sides. So technically, they're not the most homicidal. All they're trying to do is protect themselves and their mates from other males stealing them. So, I mean, meerkats will just do it just for the fun of it, though. It's so... Watch, this is going to be so messed up. I already can tell.
Researchers created a list of over 1,000 candidates,
even
and by
lions.
Painstakingly studying over 4 million animal deaths total and recording how many of those life retirements were caused by the same species. They were able to mathematically determine what mammals are the most likely to murder their own kind. And nobody could have predicted some of the answers. The Dama gazelle placed 16th on the homicide scale with an 11.85% chance of getting past tense by another Dama. Slightly above them at 14th were chinchillas with a probability of getting put down by a fellow chilla at a solid 12%. Brown bears just barely made the top 30 at less than 10%. But the bears of the sea, specifically the New Zealand sea lion, lapped them with an execution rate above 15.
I'm telling you. Like I said, it's not even that they're like homicidal per se. They're just like, don't fuck with me or I'll kill you, basically. They got the guys who keep guns in their house approach. And most of the time they'll be like, oh, I warned you once. Psh!
Now, you're probably wondering where humans ranked on this list. We gotta be up there. I mean, there's just no way. No. Humans didn't even crack the top 40, with less than 2% of human soul evictions caused by another human. In fact, according to the numbers, lemurs have far more bloodlust than humans and chimpanzees. But the most horny for homicide mammal in this study, the most murderous creature on Earth, was the meerkat. No, not a meerkat. I don't understand. The meerkat, with about 20% of those in God's recently deleted having been airdropped by another meerkat.
I don't understand. Like, it's like the only thing that they're even more prone to violence than us. They're like, oh, well, you can't get the situation solved? We're going to murder you and your whole family. Legit.
But like with any true psychopath, to see where these tendencies come from, we gotta look at their family. Meerkats are a type of mongoose, an animal that essentially married crack and determination with gang mentality. We're gonna get back to them in a second, but just know, running a fade with mongoose is like getting attacked by a team of temperamental tube socks with teeth. But if you take a wider look, meerkats belong to a superfamily that I'm not even gonna try to pronounce. I just know
Herpestodea.
They share it with fusas, which I talked about last video, and hyenas. Yeah, the hyenas' closest relatives are mongooses like the meerkat, and that made no sense to me until I heard what meerkats sound like. The mongoose is probably most famous for their eternal beef with snakes. Except the word beef is doing a lot of heavy lifting, since snake versus mongoose is more lopsided than an edge up from Stevie Wonder. A common misconception is that they're immune to snake venom. They're resistant, but there's a point where enough venom will murk even a mongoose. The mongoose has a mutation in their nicotinic acetylcholine receptor that makes it harder for neurotoxic snake venom to bind to it. That's how the same cobra that can flatline a person in 15 minutes can fully get put on a t-shirt by a warpath weasel. And meerkats will run fades with highly venomous snakes and turn them into a belt if they need to. These sand assault squirrels will even weaponize the power of friendship to flex on enemies like snakes through a process called mobbing.
You know, okay, yeah, first of all, yeah, I couldn't even see the snake that well, but yeah, puff adders are one of the most deadliest snakes in the world. Like, we found so many snakes that are kind of more venomous than them, like the brown snake, and most of them are just coming from not the margay, the black mamba or the black mamba, but they're always in Africa. You know, Australia is like, yeah, we got such violent snakes. No, the scarier snakes are in Africa. Trust me on this. Even though I don't think... Yeah, that is in Africa.
Don't worry, I didn't forget about this. But to explain why meerkats have such a high KD ratio against their own kind, you gotta understand how functionally dysfunctional their families are. The meerkat empire is built on a foundation of violence, extortion...
Before he continues... I had to take that because you're about to hear some shit.
Bond killing, cannibalism, but most importantly, a power-hungry mother, and it goes like this. Meerkats live in groups called mobs, and each mob is a conglomerate of several family units merged together as one, and sitting at the throne.
You know, consider this. I remember I found out all this information. Do you remember that Meerkat show on Animal Planet where they kept on showing a whole bunch of just meerkats just being all family? I couldn't even watch it anymore. I was like so traumatized. They even had a few seasons of that. I couldn't watch any more of it after I'd really learned how meerkats were. I couldn't do it because they would edit so many of the things that probably nasty things that probably did happen. Oh my God. Meerkat Manor, that's what it was.
Of each mob are the dominant couple, the alpha male, but more importantly,
the alpha female.
Because like with their bigger hyena cousins, meerkats are female dominated.
Unless you're a lion, honestly, in Africa, the females usually take center stage in most animal species in there. Like from elephants to meerkats to hyenas to even giraffes, which is weird. You don't think they would have a hierarchy, but they kind of do. They're kind of just like waddling around and walking around, but they're still smart enough to be like, "Hey, lion, fuck you!" So, you know, oof.
And it's the biggest, meanest mama meerkat that calls the shots. Everyone has a job in meerkat society, and the alpha female is responsible for birthing new members to the mob, which is why she eats by far more than anyone else, so that she can make enough milk to feed her pups.
Usually
the
she's
top
really
male is
fat.
primarily in charge of guarding his defenseless kids, and when he's not doing that, he's usually out hunting or spreading his scent to reinforce his territory. Then you have the scout team, the meerkats whose jobs are to forage for food wherever they can find it. And watching their backs are the sentinels, the security guards for the clan who keep an eye out for ops like eagles or jackals and will alert the foragers of danger with an alarm call. And back with the newborns are the babysitters who keep the new recruits from wandering and going MIA, and the second they hear that alarm, they either rush the kids back underground or prepare to defend them with their life. And of course, to teach...
Did y'all watch when you were a kid? Like, because I know most of my people, my subscribers are in the 20 to 30 range, right? When you were kids, did you ever watch National Geographic's Really Wild Animals? Like, I think that previous scene from there was from that show. Oh, so many memories.
Underground or prepare to defend them with their life. And of course, to teach the meerkats how to meerkat, you have meerkat mentors. That job description includes passing down all the tricks of their trade, like how a scorpion...
Seriously, honestly, anything that has figured out how to eat a scorpion the right way is an evil demon. Like, they're the ones that figure it out. Like, you gotta go behind the scorpion in order to get the jump on it. And they're like, yummy, 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 and this poison is really tasty.
Minus a stinger is just free protein. They'll even hand a mutilated scorpion to the pups for them to hone their hunting prowess on. By the way, did you know that when you remove a scorpion's stinger, you also remove its anus? So if they don't get discharged from reality right there, they get put in a coffin by severe constipation months later. The more you know. And last are the pups themselves, and their only job is to not die. And you're gonna see why just surviving Meerkat society can be harder than Hefner. One of the most crucial rules of Meerkat monarchy is that only the alpha female is allowed to have pups, and she can end up spawning 80% of all the infants in the mob. If one of her subordinates literally f***s around and she's the one to find out, the penalties can include death, the illicit offspring getting discontinued permanently, and even the offending female getting banished from the family by the queen. And with how Meerkat mobs work, a lot of times this involves a mother evicting her own daughter. And when Meerkats being used social, getting kicked out can be a death sentence with extra steps. So
see, if they actually put Meerkat Manor the way it was supposed to, it would be like a more intricate show than Game of Thrones. Think about that for a second. Meerkat Manor. Dun 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 dun.
Often the outcast will come crawling back, and sometimes she's allowed back in, but on one condition. The alpha female can and will force the insubordinate outlaw to breastfeed her children, basically using the threat of eviction to turn what's often her own daughter into a wet nurse. The price of promiscuity is why most baby meerkats born will celebrate their first birthday in the afterlife. Pups not birthed by the alpha are at such a risk that some insubordinate females will even catch a case eliminating the queen's kids if it means giving her own a better chance. But it's not that easy. The Meerkat monarch is so attached to the throne that she's even willing to exile one of her daughters just for getting too big and therefore being too big of a threat. Just like hyenas, female meerkats produce double the testosterone as males, and they use this to bully the rest of the mob into submission. A banished female does have the options of either trying to bag a bachelor to start a mob of her own, or just straight up trying to join a new one. But there's always the chance she gets violently rejected for her efforts. To put it in perspective, imagine a grandmother that not only puts her daughters out on the street for getting pregnant, not only turns her own grandchildren into a case number, but only lets that daughter live under her roof if she agrees to nurse her mother's kids, which, yes, would mean breastfeeding their own younger siblings. It's twisted, but that's just how meerkats manner. And speaking of siblings, even your own roommate...
You see what he did there? You see what he did there? And again, they kind of skipped over that kind of stuff, or they just... very vaguely. Oh my god, I remember watching this episode where they just vaguely jumped around that whole thing. They were just casually saying that, you know, they just bullied her out of it, and it's just like, wow, Animal Planet. Wow.
In the womb weight room can do you dirty. Meerkat pups will often square up and throw paws with each other, and even though these fights aren't to the death like with hyena cubs, there's a direct relationship between the availability of food and just how violent these fades can get. Early on, meerkat pups rely 100% on helpers bringing them food, and a pup will start something with their own sibling if they see that one getting too close to a helper. The human equivalent would be your mom coming home with McDonald's and you and your brother throwing fisticuffs with the winner getting to eat and the loser getting to watch. Actually, we might not be that different. And if that weren't enough, there's always the possibility of a rogue male kidnapping an unsupervised pup to try to add it to his own mob. To be fair, kidnapping's rare, but it usually ends with one less meerkat to count. Now, everything I just mentioned involves politics within the mob. Inter-mob conflicts happen too, and it's usually when a foraging party of sand-seasoned assassins trespasses into rival territory. And like with every other aspect of this murder mongoose's life, this too can lead to violence. The meerkat mafia will try to intimidate the opposition with a war dance. Now usually, that's all this is, just a bunch of aggressive posturing and a healthy helping of hold me back. But 10% of the time, words can't...
Had to play this. You know, like I said, I think Disney, at least back then, did some of their research. Because remember this scene in Lion King? Let me at him, let me at him. Oh, Pumbaa, I think you're missing the point. Like, that...
Why, I oughta... Let me at him, let me at him! Here, hold me back. Okay, let me at him, let me at him! Okay! I think you're missing the basic point here.
That whole scene is indicative to what they do. Somebody, that is a really well thought out joke. I have to give Disney, old Disney, that. Because at least when old Disney released shit, there was still some thought behind it.
Can't do what war can, and it gets physical enough to remove multiple meerkats from the census. And according to studies done in the Kalahari, almost half of mob-on-mob brutality is initiated by the alpha male. So long story short, males are usually the ones starting stuff with other mobs, while females...
Let me guess. The male fell in love with the high female from another one, and now they're fighting to rule all of them, and they just have to take out the alpha female too. So it's like, take out my wife and we'll rule all of this together. No, it's probably not.
prefer to keep their beef inside the family. All that adds up to 1 in every 5 meerkat obituaries being authored by another meerkat. Meanwhile, the much more infamous hyena has a homicidal hit rate
8%.
of about 8%. It's to the point where you almost wonder why meerkats don't just choose to live on their own, since the biggest threat to their way of life is often another meerkat.
Oh,
The answer
no!
is you
Oh my god, look at that. That is so messed up.
sociality. SparkNote's version, it's a system
God,
where there's
run.
one female spawning babies and everybody else works together to bring up the children while also splitting the labor of the colony. Bees and ants are probably the most famous eusocial insects, and so far we can only name 2 eusocial mammals, those being the raisin of rodents, the naked mole rat, and mongooses like,
Meerkats.
Meerkats live in the desolate, sun-baked deserts of the Kalahari, where grocery shopping
Prairie dogs. Prairie dogs. Okay, and also ferrets. Ferrets live like that in the wild. But, okay, it's not tightly knit like that, but still. It's kind of like that.
is a treasure hunt, and death can get delivered to you faster than an Amazon package. The mob system, although not perfect, keeps members fed and protected, especially the pups who almost always have someone watching over them. Their alarm system is so advanced that the sentinels have different calls for different situations with different levels of urgency. For example, the warning call for an approaching fox or jackal is not the same for that of a bird of prey. And like I said, the power of friendship is their best weapon against threats like snakes. In fact, the only snakes they really have to worry about are the ones related to them. So, when it comes to Meerkat family, you can't live with them, or you don't got a chance in hell without them. I've called a lot of animals homicidal, but no mammal is more murderous and more of a legitimate...
You saw that right there? Hang on.
Without them. I've called a lot of animals homicidal, but no mammal...
Okay, you see that right there? Right there is where that happened at the Bronx Zoo. You see that? For a while, they had this place called Jungle World, and they would have the otters and the monkeys in there at the same time. But one day, right there, a monkey fell in the otter pool and they drowned it. Because they never got along with them to begin with. It's still encroaching on their territory. Like, otters are basically weasels, and they may look cute. They may make really cute sounds. You may think they may look like good pets, but they are weasels and they are murder happy. It is nasty.
...is more murderous and more of a legitimate danger to themselves than a baby-faced foot-tall Terminator in the comic relief of Lion King. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Oh no. Yeah, watch him chase this thing away. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him. Come on. He's like, what the? Look at his Timon and Pumbaa. He's like, go fuck you. Fuck you, Pumbaa. It's like, fuck you, Pumbaa. Pumbaa's like, I just want to be friends, Timon. While childhood ruined, he's like, Timon, why don't you forgive me for our fight, Timon? He's like, fuck you, Pumbaa. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. Oh no, you destroyed my childhood with the Lion King reference. Oh no, even that TV show. I used to watch that TV show a lot, by the way, the fucking Timon and Pumbaa show. Who else watched that show? I loved it. Oh man, that was great. Did you guys learn anything new about meerkats? I didn't know the intricacies. I just knew that they love to murder each other if they go the way they don't like. I already knew about the whole female thing. I didn't know about like interspecies or interclan conflicts. But then again, I think hyenas do the same thing. They just don't murder as many people as they think because they can run away. It's really because they can run away. That's the only reason. That's the only reason why they're not able to kill as many people, kill as many of their own species because they can run away. But anyway, what did you guys think? I loved this episode. I absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to get into the last one, the newest one that came out. So remember, please smash that like button if you want to see more sexy and nerdy content. And subscribe if you think I deserve it. And I'll see you all in the next episode.